He has also been involved in the banking industry in Lamar's and agricultural banking. And so it's something that really allows him, I think, to, I lost my words, but he's going to have a really keen understanding of our smaller clubs in District 5610 and the rural areas where we find them. And I think oftentimes we forget about the clubs smaller than us. And I think John's roots in agriculture and banking will really allow us in the district to maintain and curry ties with our smaller clubs. And that's one of the things that I've been thinking about since I was asked to be assistant governor for this zone. And Rich, I'm still looking at you too. In addition to his involvement in pork production, he has also been a Plymouth County supervisor. He has been a longtime member of the municipal band and just served in the July 4th concert. What do you play again?
Baritone saxophone.
A baritone saxophone. If you have to be a woodwind, baritone saxophone is appropriate. So. John and his wife, Carol, have a daughter and son and 5 grandchildren, all living in Iowa. They enjoy traveling and visiting places of historical interest, including railroad and model railroad sites. That was something that really interested me, and John will have a slide on that as well. I've really come to enjoy working with John and admire him. He's a person of integrity. He's a person who is an absolute devoted Rotarian, family man, member of his community, and I think he's going to do great things for our district, and it's going to be great to work with him. So now that I've talked a little bit about him, I'll let him tell you all the stuff that he's done. So John Schneider, our new district governor.
Well, thank you so much. Is the PA working? I don't think I need it, whatever. But thank you so much, Tim, for the fine introduction. And, you said earlier that you tend to make things up. And he may have stretched some truth, but I don't know that he made anything up. But I never thought about, how my banking experience, fit into Rotary and small clubs and so on. So that's a very interesting slant on it. So, whoa. Am I going backwards or? Yeah, well, the last, this slide is, my slides aren't in order anymore. In fact, my presentation's hardly here at all. Well, I have it in a zip drive in my bag over here. You want to grab it? Yeah, I suppose. If it's still in the other file.
I think I might still have it downloaded on this computer. I'll just see. I know I copied it all in. I'll just open the original file.
Yep, there we go. Perfect.
Is that better?
Okay.
Excellent. There you go.
Thank you. Well, Doug Lynn warned me, past district governor, that you got to have a backup for your backup. So here's an example. And last night I visited the Mapleton Club, and 3 slides into my PowerPoint, the electricity went off. So fortunately, my battery in my laptop was charged up enough so that I could, follow my PowerPoint, at least myself, to follow the notes. So I carried on. alluded to, you know, my career, and my heritage is so important to me. And my great-grandfather immigrated from Denmark in about 1883, settled on this farm in 1884, purchased it at that time. And this is a photo from about 1900 of my great-grandfather and his family. So my grandfather is in there somewhere. And Tim alluded to pork production. I've been in the pork industry my whole life, even while I was doing other things. And a photo of me when I was about 13 years old, probably a freshman in high school or the summer before. And I started raising pigs when I was 9 years old, so that means I've been at it for 57 years, I guess. Not so active anymore. And we have more modern facilities today, and this isn't a real recent picture, but it shows the more modern facilities. And we used to get iso-weaned pigs in. These pigs were probably weaned a day or two before, and we took very good care of them in a very nice environment. And this is what our farm looks like today. We raise corn and soybeans. You can see a cornfield behind our acreage, and right now we've got about 2,400 head of hogs on the farm. We're not quite full, but COVID has affected the pork industry like a lot of other things, and packing plants have trouble getting labor, and so you know it's hard to get pigs to feed when the people that own the pigs know they might not have find a place to have them harvested. So we custom feed hogs, and I'm basically retired. I don't do the work. There's a crew comes in, takes care of the hogs, and my neighbor across the road custom farms the farm for me. My family, yes, my son and his wife, and then our two grandchildren in the rear. In the middle is my nephew from Boise, Idaho. He just happened to be there for the picture. And then next to the right is my son-in-law, Sean, and then his three grandsons, my daughter, Joellen, sitting in the middle of the couch. Okay, most of the Rotary clubs in our district are in South Dakota. And Carol and I, we love traveling South Dakota. So we've looked forward to visiting all the clubs in South Dakota. And Tim alluded to model railroading, which is a hobby I got back into about 10 years ago, and I thought that's what I'm going to do in retirement. And I was here 4 years ago for Dave Lorenz's installation, and little did I know, a year and a half later, he was going to be twisting my arm to be nominated to be district governor. So model railroading is put on hold. This is a club that we have in the basement in Lamar's. Again, the municipal band, this last year is my 51st year, and the concert on 4th of July was my last for the season because I'm on the road and can't do anymore. And then another interest I have is collecting antique tractors. We're up to 3 now. 4 is really at this point all I'm interested in. But this tractor is the very first tractor that my father purchased new, and he bought that in 1954. And so I've kept it all these years, and I had it restored about 14 years ago. So then this also leads into my Rotary story. And you may have heard the phrase that, are you a member of Rotary or are you a Rotarian? And that's for you to decide for yourself. But I've been in Rotary been a member of Rotary for about 37 years. But I don't think I really became a Rotarian till about 12 or 14 years ago. And one of the first things that made that switch was I did volunteer to the club to be in charge of our club's Rotary float, which you see here, and I pull it and play in parades at Lamar's 2 or 3 times a year if I'm available. And so you're looking for ideas, here you go. But remember that he left our club when he was 100 years old in the midst of COVID, and he built this Rotary emblem. But I'll give you a hint that Russell Hampton has an inflatable version. That's what we used last year. Oh, okay. All right. Also, about 12 years ago, I volunteered to be in charge of our major fundraiser in our club, our Rotary Drugstore at our Plymouth County Fair. We serve soft serve ice cream, and we serve 16,000 or something like that, individual servings of ice cream. Great fundraiser. And also, past district governor Steve Harrington asked me to chair his convention, so I did that, and that was really a big turning point for me because I attended the previous conference, I attended PETS, I attended a membership foundation meeting in Mitchell or Chamberlain, one or the other, and it opened my eyes to Rotary outside of our club and the importance of the Rotary Foundation and the great things that Rotary does in the world. So that was a turning point for me. And then the last thing that they coerced me into doing was to be chairman of our club's centennial celebration. And so I had a three-pronged goal, and we achieved all of them. And one of them, which really wasn't one of my goals, but Steve Harrington said, we need to have a major service project. So the city built a new skateboard park in O'Toole Park, which we took under our wings 30-some years ago. But we planted these trees, put up a flagpole, park bench, and it was all in honor of our first female Rotarian in Lamar's, and she was our first female president. So our international president, you heard a recording of her. She's from Windsor, Ontario, a wonderful woman, energetic, enthusiastic, intelligent, everything and more that you want in an international president. And most of your district and international dues goes to train people that become zone leaders, that train people like me and Rich, and we're here to help your clubs. So we're a resource for you, and the district is here to help you in membership, foundation, public image, and everything else. This is Jennifer's theme, and I wanted to describe it because I thought it was quite interesting. In the top, there's the white circle in the middle that could represent an individual Rotarian. The purple circle could represent, a table at a meeting or a boardroom table. The 7 dots around the outside could represent individual Rotary members, or could represent the 7 areas of focus that Rotary International through the Rotary Foundation emphasizes in our global grants and district grants, and they're listed here behind me if you want to take a look at that later. The green line is an Aboriginal walking stick, or not walking stick, digging stick, and it represents the work that Rotary does. And the Australian theme is because next May, the international conference will be in Melbourne, Australia. And then again, her theme, Imagine Rotary, and the color purple represents the women's movement, representing, she's the first international president that's female. So Rotary has a vision statement. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and around the world. And it's highlighted, together, people create change. And I thought that really meant a lot to me, and I think it kind of tells the story of Rotary, so I wanted to emphasize that in my visits. For Rotary to institute that vision statement, Rotary has an action plan, 4 steps. First one is increase our impact. Example of that is the foundation's efforts to eradicate polio from the face of the earth. Here a Rotarian is immunizing a young man, and we're this close to eradicating polio from the world. There's a handful of cases in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and last year at one time we only had 1, and we thought, boy, we're really going to make this happen. But hopefully in another year or 2 we can be down to 0 cases, and 3 years after that the world could be declared polio free. But that's not the end of the story. The vaccination campaign needs to go on for several more years after that. This is an example of a global grant that our district is involved in. It was a dream of past District Governor Ina Winter from Hot Springs, and also PDG Linda Peterson was instrumental in putting this together. This is in White Clay, Nebraska. You've probably heard about White Clay, and they had 3 convenience stores and sold millions of cans of beer a year to the Native American community. And Nebraska pulled their liquor licenses, and a gentleman bought one of the convenience stores, and through our global grant, it was stocked with equipment and materials for Native Americans to do their wares of quilting and jewelry and weaving and those kind of things. And so this woman here in the picture, Carol and I met her last fall because we attended this grand opening right after the district conference. And she was so proud of the makerspace and what she was doing there. And she was a quilter, and she'd made hundreds of quilts so far. And she had made enough money from the sale of these quilts that she bought herself a car, she bought her daughter a car, and had enough money to help raise her grandchildren. And she was so proud of that. Another global grant that our district is involved in is Hope Haven wheelchairs, and the grants go to the distribution of these. Here's a handicapped child in one of the wheelchairs. Our grants go to help distribute them in Guatemala and Romania and Vermillion, and we have district Rotarians that attend these trips and are volunteers to help in the distribution. And this spring we also had a distribution in Ukraine, but unfortunately the wheelchairs got there, but not the people to distribute them. Expand our reach, the second item in the action plan. That's mostly about expanding our reach through growing our membership and forming new clubs. This is a photo from the Rotary Club chartering in Sturgis, South Dakota. A photo of a local Black Hills Rotary leaders and then members of the new Rotary Club. And so this was spearheaded by a Rotarian in Spearfish, Tair Raz, I'm sorry, I can't say his name, but he's from not Tasmania, the big island off Africa, Madagascar. And unfortunately his visa ran out, and he's back in Madagascar working to come back to the country again. And we sure hope he makes it back. Another example of expand our reach, I've learned is your club and the wonderful projects you have in your community, and primarily how you offer these presentations on YouTube. And so you're expanding your reach throughout the community and maybe over the world in expanding the impact of Rotary and what we do. The third item is enhanced participant engagement. That's to keep your members busy, engaged. Engaged members will want to remain members. Engaged members will attract new members. And this photo is from Cherokee, Iowa, during their club centennial, which was in 2000, and I attended it. And here they were inducting new members who all received the 4-way test plaque. And several years ago, they were teetering on the edge. They didn't know what their future was. And so they brainstormed on what are we going to do? Well, one of their members had the idea to start a backpack program, and he was instrumental in fundraising for it. And it just rejuvenated their club. The club got together to fill the backpacks. Their membership exploded at that time, probably doubled or maybe even tripled their membership. So what a project to engage their memberships. And this is another example from Lamar's. Several months ago, our club had a packing event, and this is through Just Feed One in Lamar's, affiliated with Galen Catholic School and the church. And so several of our Rotary members got together, and we packed meals. We packed 13,000 meals, and everybody had a job. And somebody put rice in the funnel that went in the bag. Somebody else did soybean meal. Somebody else said put in a mixture of vitamins, minerals in the funnel that went in the bag, and then somebody else sealed it, and somebody else packed it. And so we did these 13,000 meals, and it's a full pallet, and they were later shipped to Honduras for distribution there. And finally, increase our ability to adapt, and our district and our clubs have been a great example of that. When COVID hit, for example, our club immediately went to Zoom meetings. We only missed one meeting where we didn't meet. And what a wonderful opportunity to keep our members engaged. And we had the opportunity to bring in speakers from, well, potentially all over the world. Now, we had some outside our country, but not very many. But we did have a surgeon from Haiti who interned in Lamar's, and he's a rotor actor there. And we did a project, or well, he did the project, but we helped finance a project in Haiti to provide medical products for a school there through a district grant. And someone from NASA and Shelter Box, the gentleman from California, joined us. And so what a wonderful experience. And our district did the same thing. Ina Winter was district governor at the time, and immediately she went to Zoom meetings district-wide so that clubs that were not meeting, their members still could be involved and attend Rotary meetings. And she had wonderful speakers from all over the world, too, on Rotary topics. And this is from the club in Marshall, Minnesota. And at that time, we had a COVID grant that we received from Rotary International, our district did, and then we dispersed the money to clubs that applied for it. Marshall, Minnesota, they applied for this grant, and they bought refurbished laptops and maybe some I want to call it an iPad, but that's specific to Apple, but tablets, and distributed them to nursing homes and assisted living facilities, and the residents there could use them to communicate with their family, virtually face to face. And so what a wonderful project in that community and the surrounding area. So now I'll talk a little bit about my district goals. First of all, membership. Past International President Shekhar, he said each one bring one. Each Rotarian invite someone to a meeting during the year, and hopefully some of them, would become Rotary members. I'd like to see our membership increase by 10%. Now, maybe that's a really lofty goal, but it's also Doug Lynn's goal last year, and it did end up quite effective because the district's membership actually gained a few members this year. It's the first time, well, maybe the second time in the last 15 years or so that the district gained membership. We stopped the bleeding on membership loss. And so maybe we don't make the 10%, but if we can at least grow Rotary, that's what we need to do. And I'd like to develop a plan for clubs to engage their members and grow membership. I don't know if that's reinstituting the Rotary Leadership Institute with that Chuck was instrumental in, or perhaps one Rotary Summit. And probably won't work too hard on that the next couple months during my visits, but hopefully after that we can work on that. District goals, a foundation. I have a goal of our district donating $250,000 to the Rotary Foundation. And remember that almost 50% of what goes into the share fund is returned to the district, and 50% of that is used for global grants, and the other 50% is used for district grants back to clubs in our community. And so I encourage you and all the other clubs to apply for the district designated fund grants. Now, sometime in the last year, I visited my son in Cedar Falls and attended a church service with his family. And during the sermon, the pastor made this statement: does your lifestyle determine your giving, or does your giving determine your lifestyle? And I thought about that and really touched my heart. And, you know, I think about that in foundation giving, but not only that, all the giving you do in your life, whether it's be to your church or community organizations or charitable activities. So I like to keep that in mind. Also to continue our commitment to engage in ending human trafficking through a couple global grants. One, the draft has been written, and Don Norton has been instrumental in that, along with Jennifer Rollins from Rapid City. And as I understand it, and I haven't read it yet, I got to print it out to do that, I haven't gotten to that, but I think the focus is on trying to help families create an environment where their children do not get involved in human trafficking. And then the other project that Rich Burns could talk about someday, and he knows a woman who grew up in Japan who was a Rotary exchange student, right, Rich? And now lives in California, and she's interested in working with our district on a global grant to end human trafficking, specifically in the Native American community. So I hope to support those efforts. Club goals. Please enter your club goals in Club Runner. I think it's a great, you know, experience for the club. I did it when I was president a few years ago, and the first meeting I was president, I went through the goals. The last meeting I was president, I explained how we did on the goals, and like the famous baseball philosopher Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. So I think goal setting is so important. Set goals for foundation giving, try to grow your membership and diversity. Rotary International has asked us district governors to talk about DEI, diversity and equity and inclusion. And diversity is more than, you know, religion and gender, and another one I wanted to mention, but the popular three items. But it's also about handicap and economic status and occupation, and so keep that in mind to have a diverse membership. And I see that out here. I see, you know, males and females and people of color, and you know, it's wonderful. Equity, not the political definition, that's equal outcomes, but that Rotarians and their clubs treat people equally and fairly. And inclusion, again, back to diversity, invite and welcome everyone at your meetings. You know, welcome guests, welcome new members, and welcome each other, and enjoy the great fellowship that Rotary offers. So I know all your members aren't here today, so please educate the people that aren't here about the things I talked about and what you learned today. So that's all of my presentation. I do want to talk about the district conference, my district conference in Sioux City in September 22 through 24. I know Steve Harrington was here at some time, and he sent me the copy of his presentation. It's 25 minutes long, so I'm not going to bore you on everything about the conference, but we have a wonderful speaker in Boyd Renner, and we have past international board member and current foundation member, Greg Pod, coming again to our district. We have the immediate past Rotary International director from our zone going to be there, and Claire Richards, a Rotaractor from the St. Cloud Club in Minnesota, and she is just a firecracker. And I hope she fires up our conference, talking about Rotaract, engaging new and young members. So, and I about forgot, but I do have a gift for the club, and that's Jennifer Jones' banner for this year with their theme, Imagine Rotary. So I imagine that you'll have a great year in Rotary this year. So thank you very much.
tell it's a Rotary meeting, right?
All right, well, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
I did have one question about the conference.
Sure.
Is it true that you have negotiated with the Harbor Rock to figure out a way for Team Shorn to win back all the money?
Well, if that's true, I've not been a part of it. But, yeah, we talked about port Thursday night at the conference. It's rather informal, kind of like a picnic. It'll be at the Lewis and Clark Visitor Center, and the Plymouth County pork producers are coming to grill us pork chops. And so they will be wonderful. And again, well, I don't want to talk about the fries. But the conference is all free, except for your travel and your hotel. And if you bring a guest and they're not a Rotarian, it's $40. But all Rotarians, it's free. So, part of your dues.
Thank you again.
Yep. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you. Okay. Any other business before? Okay. Yes, Kelsey.
One thing to point out that Chuck did try to do that it is. Today is the first meeting of the month.
Thank you,
You
Kelsey.
have the Vermillion Food Pantry envelopes on your table. Please give generously. It's been pretty crazy. Months. It's very busy. Lots and lots of usage. So, and we just had a visit today from Feeding South Dakota, and they were talking about their ability to get food right now. It's so much more expensive, and so at every step of the supply chain, everything's more expensive, and then people are coming down some more because food in the grocery stores is more expensive. So it goes a long way. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey. Okay. I'd like to thank our guests. I hope I mispronounced names. Monica, Ophelia, is that right? Is that right? Great, good. And Emmanuel, thank you very much for being here. And Rich and Kelly, thank you again for showing up. Glad to see you. I'll leave Chuck's beautiful face up there.